This video is the first of a two-part Epidemic Sound sponsorship. Stay tuned till the end to learn how to win one free year of Epidemic music.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up?
Have you seen Tyler Babin's latest 24 Hours with video?
The one with Sarah Dici?
Seems like something we can make.
Documentary style, but with some cinematic B-roll, for sure.
Have you checked Twitter yet today?
Someone make a 24 Hours With episode about Tyler Babin while he is filming a 24 Hours With episode. In fact, Methodbox filming Tyler Babin filming. Now that's a meta Methodbox vid.
I'll be in LA the week after next to shoot a few episodes. Let's get to work.
You know, if we did this, we have to make it exactly like one of his videos.
Full meta?
My name's Tyler Babin. I'm a photographer and a filmmaker. Actually, I was supposed to have a 24 Hours With yesterday. They got canceled last minute, and I kind of frantically tried to find a replacement, but I couldn't. Biggest thing about this series and the podcast and stuff that's kind of frustrating is how reliant it is on other people. If someone has something that goes wrong or they have to cancel, it's like tough to get such an in-depth project booked last minute, especially when it's like, hey, I want to literally spend all day with you, have a camera in your face, and just drill you with questions. Look at your calendar, give me the busiest day you have. Today with Amber will be interesting because we have like the first chunk of the day kind of planned. She's gonna go skimboard, so we're gonna go do the interview, and then the rest of the day is a little bit gray. This will be kind of an interesting challenge, so we have to like figure out what the story is as we're making it. I had dropped out of college, I was still living in Florida, I was kind of bouncing around doing a bunch of different jobs, and I had gone on a trip to New York when I was in like 8th grade, knew that's where I wanted to live, and I just started applying to every internship I could find. VaynerMedia was the only one that called me back. And how do I work for Gary? How do I work for Gary? How do I work for Gary? At the end of the internship, I got an email, it was like, thanks for all the hard work, we don't have a job for you, your last day is Friday. And I was like, that's not good, because I really had no backup plan. I had sort of burned through all my savings in New York, had to figure out a way to get a job, and so just cold emailed Gary and was like, hey, would love to say goodbye. He was like, cool, you can have a 5-minute meeting on the last day. I have this like long-running joke with Gary's assistant, Tyler, who could have like single-handedly ended my whole career run in like one decision, and that Gary was running late, and instead of having like a 2-minute meeting in Gary's office, he was like, yo, just go jump in Gary's cab, he's going uptown to see his family. So my 5-minute meeting turned into an hour-long meeting sitting in traffic through New York, and I was pretty blunt, and like as soon as I got in the car, I was like, I should make videos for you. He kicked me out on 57th Street, I ran straight into a Starbucks, designed 5 pieces of Instagram content and like emailed them on the spot. I had just turned 22, maybe 23. I was called into HR, which on what was supposed to be my last day, and I thought it was just like my exit interview thing of like, hope you had fun as an intern. And they were like, cool, you start on Gary's team Monday. I always forget to tell this part of the story. It was on a 1-month plan. Gary said, you can come to my team for a month, and at the end of the month, if we like you, it might be a job. We can't promise anything, but we just want to extend your internship. And so I was like, all right, now it's go time, and I have to like really prove myself. And so that next month of my life was probably the hardest I had ever worked. Which started the most insane 3 years of my life. Yo, it's Babin. I'm leaving LA right now, heading to Laguna Beach. I'll see you soon.
Hey, how are you?
My name's Amber Torrialba, and I'm a professional skimboarder based in Laguna Beach, and I'm also a filmmaker.
Cool. And you can kind of like, if you feel like you need to look somewhere, like we can make eye contact, you don't have to look right at the camera. Amber and I have like met each other a couple times, but very, very briefly. And so like, it's a little bit nerve wracking like that first time. And so there's something oddly comforting about like the first like chunk of just like having her like talk to the camera and like start building up that rapport. Even that like little 20 seconds, I now know the direction like I feel like I want to take the whole storyline of the day. I'm gonna have you like walk out, grab the board, and then you can just kind of like walk past me.
Okay.
When I'm with you, it's a blessing. No more stressing. So if you want to, come and hold me.
It's my last day at VaynerMedia.
I'm gonna miss you, bro.
I'm gonna miss you too, man. A lot.
It's super surreal.
Hello?
Hey, Julie, it's Tyler.
Hey, Tyler. We've been considering your application, obviously. We would love to offer you the position for videographer for the 2019 cohort.
The reason I left Vayner was because I accepted a role as a 2019 Adobe Creative resident.
At what point did you know that, okay, I'm actually going to pursue this thing? I'm going to have to sacrifice this other thing.
It was pretty immediate. Like, I knew I was approaching a point where my time at Vayner was starting to like come to an end. Gary and I had even talked about it. I was actually in India for a friend's wedding. I was like, man, I wish I could just do like the residency thing like Sarah did. Pulled it up on my phone and applications were closing in like 3 days. Ran back home to New York, made an application, submitted it. If this goes through, I'm taking it.
So you made a video that essentially popped off as you made this transition.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that being the video?
The video was called I Quit My Dream Job at VaynerMedia. It was a video that was necessary for me to make. I think at the time I only had like 500 or 600 subscribers on YouTube. YouTube was where I wanted to build an audience, but it was more so like I was gonna make the video just as a statement to all social and friends and everything as to like what the next chapter of my life was gonna be. I don't know what crazy algorithm it got sucked into. That video ended up getting about 500,000 views. I got 20,000 subscribers in 4 days off of it. I mean, it was so bizarre. I didn't understand what was happening. All of a sudden, like I hadn't even really started this next thing yet. And my email was blowing up and all these people wanted me for like meetings and signed to this agency and this agency. And I was like, I just wanted to make videos, right? Something I haven't really talked about, but I kind of hate that it was that video because I didn't know what my channel was about. Frankly, I still not sure exactly what my channel is about. I don't want to say pigeonholed, but people were, I think, expecting a certain thing from me that I just couldn't deliver on over, like I can't quit a dream job every week, right? It's just not how the world works. In my mind, whenever I was leaving Vayner going into YouTube, I was like, sick. I've got 6 months before anyone cares about me. I can experiment, I can throw stuff against the wall and figure out what I want my like niche to be. And I had to like go through a lot of grunt work and making things that didn't work and trying to appeal to certain people in front of a really big audience. It was funny, if you look at like the analytic aspect, it's like major spike, everything dropped down for a few months, and just now in the last month are things like ticking up again at a noticeable rate where it's like, oh, okay, something's working. I never wanted to seem like I'm ungrateful, like a video popped and I got a bunch of subscribers and like the community was built, but I definitely wasn't ready or prepared for what came after that.
Now you've got to work triple hard because I've given you the secret to it. So now you have to vig what I just gave you. Because normally I don't give that.
Right on.
So now I'm like, well, that was easy because I gave it to you. So what are you gonna do about that?
All right, I gotcha. Pressure's on.
Now I did that. So it's like
It's even more.
No, but it is.
The residency is a opportunity where Adobe gives a handful of artists a year to pursue creative projects. Adobe gives you a salary for a year to fully focus on whatever you want to do.
Go do you, and we'll pay you. So there seems to be pros and cons to that.
Yeah, man, it's funny. You know how like every artist says they just want creative freedom. They're like, don't put me in a box, don't put me in a box. I realized I need a box really bad. Like I need parameters, and I think constraints help like amplify creativity for me. Having someone like set me off and say like, hey, just go make stuff for a year, I was like, when there's so many options, it's almost paralyzing in a weird way where you're not sure which route to take. Tons of people would love to dissect what that means about me or my artistic abilities or whatever it may be. But there was a huge chunk of like downtime and I just didn't know what to make. I had tons of ideas. I wasn't sure which route I wanted to pursue because all of a sudden I had these people watching videos and it had to be a certain thing and I had to say a certain thing, and if I didn't say it, then there was tons of like toxic energy in the comments, which sort of sent me into a weird spiral. Adobe brought a lot of cool opportunities that I'm super grateful for, but I ended up spending a lot more time, I feel, working on things that weren't what I was supposed to be working on. The Vayner world had really put me in a place where you had just been in like go mode, put out more and more and more. And it was the first time in my life where I was able to take a step back and like think about what I was doing a little bit. Though I wouldn't take any of those months away, it's substantially slower to sit down and like think about what you want to create instead of just like going through the motions of putting things out as fast as you can. I mean, it's funny now with the tail end of this residency, I have about 5 months left. Now I'm in crazy heads down mode. Crazy. All right, money's running out. I have to figure out how to make this actually a sustainable thing if I want YouTube to be my career. And so now it's really going all in on what Adobe wants it to be, which is much time and energy as I possibly can spend on my passion projects and building out creative ideas that I want to pursue. So this is like the first like proper setup of the day, and it's really gonna provide like all the B-roll for the whole piece. Right now, all I'm thinking is coverage, so it looks like I have way more of a film crew than just myself. I never want anyone to think that like the gear is the reason that it's anything of this nature is like possible. So that means I'm switching a lot between like wides and tight shots. Like every time Amber walks across from me or she's like coming back in, I'm either focused in on like hands, her feet, the board, like her face, like whatever it may be, so that I can cut this into like one big sequence where it looks like this all happened in like one time, and that way it looks like a way higher production value than just like me and one camera.
I feel like you've gotten the shots you've needed to get?
Yeah, like I feel really good about what we have so far. Now it's just about like building out the rest of the day. Talk to me a little bit about the decision to move. Like why jumping from coast to coast? This series is something that it's very similar to the work I did with Gary, so it's something I'm good at. I can churn these videos out quickly. I think I'm good at like getting people relaxed on camera and like sort of uncovering like a different part of them. And so it's a very honest thing. The last like 7 videos I've put out have felt the most like me, like the real me, not me trying to give everyone what they wanted to see. At this point, I'm like, what do I have to lose? Like I've got 4 or 5 months left to have fun with this thing and try and put out work I am happy with and proud of, and stuff that I can like look back at in 20, 30 years and be stoked on. And in turn, I think that is what's making the channel all of a sudden. I mean, it was literally like a light switch. It had been stagnant for probably like 2 or 3 months. And over the last month and a half, it's been like a vertical line of growth. I grew up in like a super small town in Florida where if you would have told me like this was the life I was living, I would have like laughed you out of the room. There was no shot. And it's super interesting how so many other creators were in that exact same spot. I want to show the process of how people are creating the stuff they're doing. How are they developing the lifestyle that both works for them and allows them to be like financially okay on some weird way. It's like a blueprint to how to be a creator.
What's the plan after this Adobe Residency is over? I mean, it's kind of scary, right?
Yeah. I live in the middle of Manhattan, expensive apartment, and so, dude, you were so ballsy, you took a huge risk, you quit Vayner, and I'm like, yeah, like, I guess I quit a job, but there's other jobs out there. Like I can go back and I can get another agency job. I don't think that's what I want to do, but the year with Adobe has been really about developing relationships and making videos for brands when I can, but like not really taking anything like financially out of those. And so I feel like I'm kind of like loading up as much sort of networking potential as I can, and like as soon as money runs out later this year, what can I do from a brand integration standpoint on the YouTube channel? What can I do from a freelance perspective, from a consulting perspective? Start actually monetizing on all these things.
Back in that car with Gary, which is where the story started.
Yep.
In a sense, he was challenging you. Do you feel like you have made him proud, or that you have fulfilled that challenge?
He texted me the other day, he's like, why are you not doing enough on TikTok? I mean, there's always gonna be things that change. I think he knows, like, from an intention standpoint, that I want to do good things, and the real challenge, even off what he gave me, was like me figuring out what I wanted to actually do for myself, you know?
Cool.
Okay, so here's the announcement. Our next video, which we're releasing in a few days, we're gonna go over how we musically composed this very video using tracks from Epidemic Sound.
Within that video, we're going to launch a music score challenge for anyone to enter. We're gonna give you guys a submission date.
We'll then announce a winner who will receive a free 1-year subscription to Epidemic Sound.
As most of you may know, music soundtrack is a crucial part of the storytelling process for us. So if you want to learn what that process looks like, some of our tips,
and participate in this challenge, stay tuned to early next week when we drop our video.